I watched you stand before that heavy, iron-bound door years ago, your knuckles bruised from knocking and your heart shattered into 1,000 jagged pieces when the silence was the only answer you received. You wept in the shadows of that rejection, believing that your one true chance at happiness, at security, and at purpose had vanished into the ether. You felt the cold sting of failure settle into your bones, and you began to believe the lie that your best days were behind you. But I was there in the silence, my child. I was the one who held the door shut, not to punish you, but to protect you from a room that was too small for the person I was molding you to become. I saw the way you looked at your bank account this morning, the heavy sigh that escaped your lips as you calculated the distance between your needs and your resources. I heard the frantic rhythm of your heart when the anxiety of how and when began to cloud your vision. You feel as though you are wandering in a desert, watching others find their oases while you sift through dry sand. But listen closely to my voice. The wind is shifting. The very opportunity you mourned, the one that slipped through your fingers like water, is returning to you, but it has been transformed in the fires of my timing. It is no longer a flickering candle, it has become a blazing sun. I have spent this season of your waiting working behind the scenes, aligning the stars and moving the hearts of those you do not even know yet. You thought you lost a silver coin, but I am returning to you a chest of gold. I am looking into your eyes right now, past the exhaustion and the worry, to tell you that the debt which keeps you awake at night is being addressed by a hand you cannot see. Do not let your heart be troubled by the numbers on a screen or the loneliness that sits beside you at dinner. I am the architect of the impossible, and I am drafting a blueprint for your restoration that will make your previous losses look like mere footprints in the tide. I am bringing back that connection, that career path, that sense of home, but with a double portion of grace attached to it. You are not a forgotten soul in a vast universe. You are my most precious creation, and I have carved your name into the palms of my hands. The tears you sowed in secret are currently watering the harvest of a miracle that is already breaking through the soil of your reality. Can you feel it? The subtle shift in the atmosphere, the way the light is beginning to catch the edges of your darkest clouds. I am removing the spirit of heaviness and replacing it with a garment of praise. You have survived the pruning, and now you shall experience the blooming. I am bringing people into your life who will see your worth without you having to explain it. I am opening gates that were previously locked with the key of your endurance. You asked for a way out, but I am giving you a way up. This unique season, identified in the heavens as your moment of 6797, a code of divine restoration, marks the end of your wandering. Your financial drought is ending not because of your effort, but because of my favor. Your loneliness is being filled not just with company, but with deep, soulful belonging. Trust me. Let go of the tight grip you have on your fears. Open your hands so that I may fill them. The no of yesterday was merely a not yet for a better that is arriving today. I love you with an everlasting love, and I am not finished with your story. In fact, the most beautiful chapters are only just being written, and they start with you taking a deep breath and realizing that I am already there, standing in your future, beckoning you forward into the light. Recall the nights when the silence was a heavy blanket, when you looked at the empty seat at your table or the stagnant numbers in your bank account, and felt that the clock had stopped on your purpose. I was there in that silence. I saw you mourning the dream that withered before it could bloom. What you did not see was the disease at the root of that old dream, a decay that would have eventually collapsed the entire structure of your life had I let it grow. I am a master gardener, and I prune not to hurt, but to ensure that when the harvest comes, it is unblemished and abundant. The opportunity you are seeing resurface now, the one that looks familiar yet feels strangely new, is the refined gold of your previous desires. It is the same seed, but I have planted it in better soil, away from the shadows that once stunted its growth. Do you remember the conversation you had in your heart, the one you never spoke aloud, where you asked if you would ever feel that spark again? I am blowing on the embers of that hidden passion. The career path that seemed blocked is now a highway where the traffic moves in your favor. But this time, you will not have to claw your way to the top. You will be carried by the momentum of my grace. I am aligning the hearts of those in positions of influence. They will mention your name in rooms you haven't entered yet. They will remember a quality in you that they cannot quite define, a light that radiates from the time you spent in the secret place of your testing. Your endurance has developed a fragrance that the world finds rare. You are no longer the same person who lost that battle. You have been tempered by the fire, made resilient by the weight. The tears you shed over the lost years have been collected. They were the water for this very season. I am restoring the years the locusts have eaten, not by giving you back time, but by making the time you have left 10 times more fruitful. Think of the person who walked away, leaving a void you thought could never be filled. Look closely as I bring forth a connection that does not require you to shrink yourself to fit. I am bringing someone who sees the scars of your journey as maps of treasure, not as flaws to be hidden. We are building a legacy now, something that transcends mere survival. You have spent so long in survival mode that your nervous system has forgotten how to rest in the abundance. I am retraining your heart to beat with the rhythm of peace. In the coming weeks, you will notice small coincidences that are actually my fingerprints. A phone call from a distant acquaintance, a sudden idea while you are washing the dishes, a scripture that jumps off the page and breathes life into your weary bones. These are the signals that the 6797 restoration is in full motion. You thought you were behind, but I have adjusted the celestial clock. You are exactly where you need to be to receive what I have prepared. Do not look back at the wreckage of the past with regret. Look at it as the scaffolding that was necessary to build the temple you are becoming. The pressure you felt was not intended to crush you, but to turn the carbon of your experiences into a diamond that can reflect my glory. I am touching the areas of your health that have felt the strain of the struggle. I am renewing your youth like the eagles, giving you the energy to run into this new territory without growing weary. You will find that the yes I am speaking over you now carries a weight of authority that your previous yes lacked. It is a sovereign yes that no man can revoke and no circumstance can diminish. Listen to the wind in the trees. It is a whisper of my spirit telling you that the winter is over. The flowers are appearing on the earth, and the time of singing has come. I want you to dream bigger than you did before the loss. Use the imagination I gave you to see the expansion of your borders. You are moving from a place of just enough to a place of more than enough, so that you may be a conduit of my blessing to others. Your story is becoming a testimony of my faithfulness, a beacon for those still wandering in their own nights. Hold my hand as we step across this threshold. The door ahead is not just cracked open, it is being taken off its hinges. You do not need to push. You only need to walk through with your head held high, knowing that you are my beloved and my favor is your shield. Feel the warmth of my presence settling into your home, clearing out the remnants of grief and replacing them with an expectant joy. This is the hour of the great return, where every stolen moment is repaid with interest, and every lost opportunity is replaced by a divine appointment that exceeds your wildest expectations. Think of the project you tucked away in a drawer, the one you convinced yourself was a foolish endeavor born of a younger, more naive version of yourself. I am pulling that drawer open. I am breathing life into those dry bones of creativity. You will find that the wisdom you gained during the silent years is the exact ingredient that project needed to survive in the world today. You are now equipped with the discernment you lacked before. You are no longer easily swayed by the opinions of those who do not know my voice. This new version of the opportunity will bring you more than just success. It will bring you fulfillment. It will align with the deepest parts of who I created you to be. I am also moving in your family lineage, breaking cycles of lack and anxiety that have haunted your bloodline for generations. You are the one through whom the shift is happening. Your children and your children's children will walk on the ground you are claiming today. Do not be afraid of the magnitude of the blessing. I am expanding your capacity to receive. Like a vessel being stretched by the potter's hand, the stretching may have been uncomfortable, but it was for the purpose of holding more of my new wine. Drink deeply of this peace. The frantic searching is over. You can stop looking over your shoulder for the next storm. The climate of your life has changed. You are entering a tropical season of my grace where the fruit grows effortlessly. Look at your hands, they are no longer empty. Look at your feet, they are no longer on sinking sand. I have set you upon the rock, and I have given you a new song. This is the beauty of my restoration. It doesn't just put things back the way they were. It makes them better than they ever could have been without the trial. The gap between your prayer and my answer is closing. The delay was not a denial. It was a divine orchestration. I was moving pieces across the board that you couldn't see. I was removing people who would have hindered your growth and preparing the hearts of those who will now champion your cause. Rest in this knowledge. Let the tension leave your shoulders. Every cell in your body is being infused with the vitality of my spirit. You are being restored from the inside out. Your mind, once a battlefield of what-ifs, is becoming a sanctuary of it is finished. The better is not just a promise for the future, it is the reality of your now. Take another breath. Feel my love wrapping around you like a garment of light. I am here, and I am leading you home to a place you've never been before, yet a place that feels like everything you've ever wanted. Consider the architecture of a tree. When a branch is pruned, it feels like a loss, a jagged edge where there was once life and extension. But I am the master gardener, and I never prune without a vision for a more robust canopy. The opportunity you mourned, the one that slipped through your fingers like water despite your tightest grip, was a branch that could not have sustained the weight of the fruit I am now preparing to hang upon your life. If you had succeeded then, you would have collapsed under the pressure of a blessing you weren't yet structured to carry. But look at you now. Look at the sturdiness of your spirit, the depth of your roots, and the way you have learned to lean into the wind instead of breaking against it. I have been strengthening your inner man in the quiet, in the not yet, and in the no. You thought you were being bypassed, but you were actually being preserved. The new iteration of this dream is not merely a second chance. It is a superior version, recalibrated to match the person you have become through the fire. Think of the specific names you whispered in the dark, the specific titles you chased, and the specific milestones you thought you missed. I have not forgotten them. I have been refining them. That position you didn't get, it would have cost you your peace. The relationship that ended, it would have stifled your purpose. The investment that failed, it would have anchored you to a sinking ship. I am now bringing back the essence of those desires, but they are clothed in a different light. They are coming back with a resilience and a purity that the previous versions lacked. You are noticing a shift in the atmosphere around you. People who once ignored your value are suddenly finding themselves drawn to your wisdom. Doors that were triple-bolted are beginning to creak open, not because you are pushing, but because the season has changed. I am aligning the orbits of those who possess the resources you need with the trajectory of your obedience. You don't have to shout to be heard or perform to be seen. Your presence, seasoned by the trials you endured, is becoming its own recommendation. I am taking the wasted years and compressing their lessons into a single moment of breakthrough. You will find that you have more momentum in 1 month of my favor than you had in a decade of your own striving. Feel the way I am untangling the knots of anxiety in your chest. Those knots were tied by the fear that you had run out of time, but I am the author of time. I can stretch a moment into an eternity, and I can collapse a 20-year journey into a single step. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be for the better to manifest. I am even now preparing the table. I am inviting guests you never dreamed would sit with you. I am pouring an oil of gladness over your head that will drown out the scent of the smoke you walked through. Your hands, which once felt empty, are being prepared to hold a weight of glory that is far beyond your current comprehension. I want you to walk through your house today and see it through my eyes. See the rooms not as spaces of waiting, but as sanctuaries of preparation. See your bank account not as a measure of your worth, but as a seedbed for the harvest that is germinating beneath the surface. Every tear you shed over that lost opportunity was a seed. And seeds must die in the dark before they can break the earth. Your dark night is over, and the first green shoots of the better are already visible if you will only look with the eyes of faith. I'm not just giving you a win, I am giving you a legacy. I'm not just fixing a mistake, I am creating a masterpiece. The colors I am using are bolder now. The strokes are more deliberate. You are the canvas, and I am painting a story of return that will leave onlookers in awe of my faithfulness. Do you feel the warmth growing in your heart? That is the fire of holy expectation. Do not quench it. Feed it with the remembrance of my past mercies. Even when you were unfaithful, I remained faithful. Even when you doubted, I stayed committed to your destiny. The restoration is systemic. It is touching your health, your finances, your family dynamics, and your creative flow. The better is a flood that will wash away the debris of the past and leave behind a fertile soil where only joy can grow. I am calling forth the hidden treasures of the darkness. I am revealing the secret riches of the places you feared to enter. You are stepping into a period of high synchronization where your thoughts will align with my whispers and your actions will yield results that defy logic. This is the reward for your endurance. This is the fruit of your yes when everything around you said no. Stay in this place of intimacy. Don't run ahead and don't lag behind. Just walk with me. The path is widening. The shadows are retreating. The lost opportunity is returning, and you will finally understand why the delay was the greatest mercy of all. Look closely at the hands that once trembled with the weight of what was taken. Do you see how they have been strengthened? You thought the emptiness was a void of abandonment, but it was a vessel being hollowed out for a vintage of joy you could not have carried in your former season. The opportunity that slipped through your fingers like sand was never meant to be your foundation. It was merely a placeholder, a shadow of the substance I was preparing for you in the secret place. Think back to the nights you spent staring at the ceiling, replaying the rejection, the almost that turned into not yet. You saw a door closing. I saw a protection order being signed. You saw a loss. I saw a liberation. Now, the new door is not just swinging open. It is being unhinged to reveal a landscape far more vast than the narrow corridor you were so desperate to walk down. This new iteration of your dream contains dimensions of peace that the previous one lacked. It comes with a support system you didn't have to build, and a level of influence you didn't have to manufacture. I have refined your desires so that when this better arrives, you will recognize it not by the loud clamor of the world's applause, but by the deep, resonant amen in your very bones. We are moving past the era of striving. You have spent years trying to convince the wrong people of your value, trying to squeeze your expansive spirit into rooms that were too small for your destiny. I am placing you now in a position where your presence is the prize. The specific project you wept over, the one that felt like your last chance, is returning with a name and a face you didn't expect. It is coming back with a transparency and a longevity that the first version lacked. This time, you will not have to look over your shoulder, wondering when the other shoe will drop. This time, the roots go deep into the bedrock of my promise. I am healing the phantom pains of your past failures. You know the ones, the sudden stabs of regret that hit you in the quiet moments of the afternoon. I am replacing those memories with a current of divine confidence. You will find yourself speaking with an authority that surprises even you. Your words will carry a weight that moves hearts and opens vaults. Even your physical body is responding to this shift. The tension that has lived in your shoulders for a decade is dissolving as you realize that the burden of making it happen has been lifted from your back. I am the architect. You are the inhabitant. I am the source. You are the stream. Feel the rhythm of your breath change as you enter this sanctuary of my providence. Notice how the people who once overlooked you are now seeking your counsel. This is not for your ego, but for my glory, to show that those who wait upon the Lord shall truly renew their strength. You are not just recovering what was lost. You are receiving interest on the time that was seemingly wasted. Every tear shed in the wilderness has been bottled and turned into a nutrient for the harvest you are about to reap. The financial strain that felt like a constant, dull ache is being replaced by a flow of resources that will allow you to be the hand that gives rather than the hand that begs. You will have enough to fund the dreams of others, becoming a conduit for the same restoration you have received. We are entering the season of the suddenlies. Those things that took years of preparation will manifest in a single day. You will receive a call, an email, or a knock on the door that will bridge the gap between your here and your there in an instant. But do not be startled. You have been ready for this for a long time. The character I built in you during the silence is the anchor that will keep you steady in the storm of success. I'm also restoring the relationships that were casualties of your transition. Some will be resurrected with a new, healthy boundary. Others will be replaced by a soul tribe that speaks the language of your future, not your past. You will no longer have to translate your vision into smaller words so that others can understand you. You are being brought into the company of those who see the fire in your eyes and recognize it as the same flame that burns in theirs. This is the beauty of the delay. It filtered out the distractions. It stripped away the superficial until only the essential remained. Now, with your heart purified and your gaze fixed on me, you can handle the magnitude of this return. The better is not just a bigger house or a higher title. It is the absolute certainty that you are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you were created for, with the smile of heaven upon your face. Rest in this knowing. Let the remaining anxiety melt away like wax before the fire. The path ahead is clear, the sky is breaking open, and the wind is at your back. Walk forward with the quiet grace of one who has already won the battle, for the restoration has already begun in the invisible realms, and its manifestation is now knocking at your door. Hear the soft click of the bolt sliding back, a sound that once signaled the closing of a chapter you weren't ready to end. But look closely at the grain of the wood and the light pouring through the threshold. This is not the same door you wept behind a year ago or a decade ago. That door was made of your own striving, built from the expectations of a world that demanded you perform to be seen. The door before you now has been crafted by my own hand, seasoned by the seasons of your patience, and polished by the tears you thought were wasted. I saw you in those midnight hours when you scrolled through the successes of others, feeling like a ghost in your own life, wondering if your time had passed or if I had simply looked away. I never looked away. I was the one who gently removed your hands from that previous opportunity, because I knew its foundation was built on sand that could not support the weight of the glory I intended for you. Had you entered it then, you would have been crushed by the very thing you prayed for. You would have been consumed by the thirst to keep it, rather than the joy of having it. But look at you now. You have been through the thrashing floor. You have learned to find my presence in the silence and my provision in the scarcity. You have become a person who can carry the magnitude of a great return without letting it become an idol. The opportunity that returns to you now may wear a familiar face. It may share the same industry or the same heartbeat as the one that left, but it has been transformed by the alchemy of the weight. It is now infused with an ease that you could not have manufactured. Notice how you no longer feel the need to shout to be heard or to run to keep up. This new landscape is tailored to the rhythm of your peace. Think back to the specific project you laid down with a heavy heart, the one you thought was your only chance to make a mark. It did not die. It was merely a seed falling into the ground. As it slept, I was rearranging the hearts of those you will now serve. I was moving pieces across the global chessboard, aligning resources you didn't know existed and softening the soil of the hearts that will now receive your gift. The better is found in the fact that you are no longer trying to prove your value. You are simply existing in it. Do you feel the shift in your breathing? The tightness in your chest that you carried for so long, that phantom weight of not enough, has been dissolved. You are entering a room where you are not just tolerated, but celebrated. You are stepping into a role where your unique scars, the very ones you tried to hide, are the credentials that make you the most qualified. This is the divine irony. The parts of your story you thought were disqualifying are the very reasons this new chapter has found its way to your porch. I have taken the fragments of your broken expectations and fused them into a mosaic that reflects my light in ways a smooth, unbroken surface never could. You are walking into a synergy that feels like a homecoming. There will be no more almosts or not yets. The timing has been perfected. See the way the light catches the horizon. That is the dawn of the recompense. I am not just giving you back what was lost. I am giving you the interest that has accumulated in the spiritual banks while you waited. I am giving you the wisdom to handle the abundance, the humility to stay grounded in the heights, and the love to share the overflow. You are no longer the person who lost that opportunity. You are the person who survived the loss and found me in the wreckage. That discovery is the greatest upgrade of all. Think of the specific names you had written in your journal, the names of positions or people you thought held the keys to your happiness. I have replaced those names with ones that actually resonate with your soul frequency. The old opportunity was a garment that was too tight, though you tried to convince yourself it fit. This new one is a robe of light, effortless and expansive. It recognizes the version of you that exists today, not the version that was trying to please everyone else. Even now, in the quiet of this moment, can you feel the vibrations of change? It is in the way the atmosphere of your home is shifting, in the way the phone rings, in the way the emails land, and in the serendipitous meetings at the corner of ordinary streets. These are not coincidences. They are the coordinated movements of a heaven that loves you. You are no longer chasing. You are being sought. You are no longer knocking on doors that are bolted shut. You are standing before doors that are swinging open before you even arrive. This is the grace of the better. It is the difference between a man carrying a bucket of water from a distant well and a man standing under a waterfall. You have done enough carrying. It is time to stand under the flow. The restoration is not a trickle. It is a deluge of purpose. It will touch every area of your life, your health, your finances, your relationships, and most importantly, your sense of self. You will look in the mirror and see not a survivor of a drought, but a garden in full bloom. The colors are more vibrant because they were tested in the dark. The fruit is sweeter because the roots had to go deeper to find the water. Everything about your life is being recalibrated to this new level of abundance. Do not be afraid of the scale of it. Do not let the old poverty mindset tell you that this is too good to be true. In my kingdom, too good to be true is simply the standard. It is the baseline. I am the God of the overflow, the God of the second chance that eclipses the first. I am the God who makes all things new, not just repaired. The manifest reality of this is now pressing against the fabric of your daily life. It is the unexpected peace you feel when you should be worried. It is the sudden clarity about a problem that has plagued you for years. It is the laughter that bubbles up from your belly for no reason at all. These are the signals. The ship you thought you missed was just a tugboat, and I have brought you a liner. The career you thought was over was just a rehearsal for the masterpiece you are about to conduct. Rest in this truth. Let it seep into your bones. The battle is over, the victory is recorded, and the celebration is about to begin. You are the guest of honor at a table I have prepared specifically for you, and the seat is engraved with your name. No one else can take it. No one else can fulfill this call. It was reserved for you from the foundation of the world, kept safe until you were ready to occupy it with the quiet strength you now possess. Step forward. The threshold is waiting. The light is inviting. The better is here. As you cross this threshold, do not look back at the shoreline of your past disappointments with a heavy heart. Those landscapes served their purpose. They were the training grounds where your resilience was forged in the quiet heat of persistence. Think of the years you spent in that cramped office, the one where the fluorescent lights hummed with the sound of your unmet potential. You thought you were being bypassed, while others climbed the ladder of visible success. You watched through a digital screen as peers celebrated milestones you felt you had earned 10 times over. But look closely at your hands now. They are not the same hands that reached out in desperation 5 years ago. They are steady. They are capable of holding a much greater weight of glory without trembling. The liner I have brought to your harbor requires a captain who has learned the art of the deep, not just the safety of the shallows. The tugboat you mourned was built for the harbor. This vessel is built for the ocean. It is equipped with instruments you wouldn't have known how to read back then, instruments of discernment, patience, and a peace that does not depend on the weather. You felt the sting of that no. When you applied for that position, the one you were sure was your destiny. You felt the rejection like a physical blow to the chest, and you retreated into a shell of maybe I'm not enough. I want you to see that rejection now for what it truly was, a divine redirection. If I had given you that role, you would have been satisfied with a fraction of what you were created for. You would have settled for a life of maintenance instead of a life of creation. You would have been a cog in a machine that didn't know your name. Now, look at the table I have set. The influence I am granting you is not just a title, it is a resonance. When you speak, people will hear the depth of the valleys you have walked. When you lead, you will lead with a compassion that can only be birthed through the experience of being misunderstood. I have taken the fragments of your failed projects, the half-finished manuscripts, the business plans that never saw the light of day, the relationships that withered despite your watering, and I have used them as the foundation for this new structure. Nothing was wasted. Every tear you shed over a closed door was collected and used to irrigate the garden you are now entering. You used to pray for a way out. Now, you will be the way through for others. Do you remember the nights you spent journaling by the light of a single lamp, pouring out your frustrations until the ink ran dry? You thought you were talking to yourself. You thought your voice was vanishing into the ether. But I was the one holding the pen with you. Those private moments of honesty were the rehearsals for the public moments of impact that are now arriving. The better is not just a better version of what you lost. It is a different dimension of fulfillment. It is the difference between a puddle and a spring. The puddle is dependent on the rain, but the spring comes from an internal source that never runs dry. I have placed that source within you. You are no longer searching for external validation to tell you that you are worthy of this seat. You know you are worthy because I am the one who carved it for you. Can you feel the shift in the air? The static of the waiting room has been replaced by the clear frequency of purpose. The people who will walk alongside you in this new season are not like those of the past. They will not ask you to shrink so they can feel tall. They will not require you to mute your light so they can shine. They are the ones who have been waiting for someone with your specific frequency, your specific scars, and your specific joy. You are entering a community of the called, a circle of those who understand that the greatest victories are often the ones that were once thought to be defeats. There is a specific project on your heart, something you tucked away in a drawer of your mind labeled someday or impossible. Bring it out. The atmosphere is now conducive to its growth. The soil of your life has been enriched by the very things you thought were killing you. The compost of your failures has become the fertilizer for your future. Do not approach this with the tentativeness of a beggar, but with the confidence of an heir. You are not here by accident, and you are not here on probation. You are here because you have been vetted by the fire and found true. Every delay was a sharpening. Every silence was a strengthening. Now, as the lights of the liner begin to illuminate the water around you, notice how calm the sea has become. The storms that used to terrify you are now just ripples in the wake of your progress. You are moving with a momentum that is not your own, a grace that carries you when your own strength reaches its limit. This is the beauty of the return. It comes with a bonus of wisdom that makes the enjoyment of the blessing so much richer. You will not squander this. You will not lose yourself in it. You will inhabit it with the grace of one who knows that the best is not just a destination, but a state of being in alignment with the divine intent. Breathe deeply. The scent of the new season is in the nostrils of your spirit. It smells of cedar, of fresh rain, and of an ancient promise finally kept. This is just the beginning of the uncovering. There are layers to this better that will reveal themselves as you walk further into the light. Each step will confirm what you are starting to sense, that the wait wasn't a denial, but a preparation for a weight of joy you were previously unable to carry. Your heart has been expanded to hold this. Your mind has been cleared to govern this. Your spirit is ready to soar within it. Do you remember the nights when the weight of the almost felt heavier than the not at all? I was there in the shadows of those sleepless hours, counting the tears that fell for the sake of a dream you thought had been stolen from your hands. You viewed that loss as a subtraction, a thinning of your life's potential, but I saw it as a pruning, a necessary clearing of the brush, so that the ancient oaks of your true purpose could find room to stretch their roots. The opportunity you mourned was a prototype, a sketch in the sand that the tide had to wash away so I could build upon the solid rock of your matured character. Look now at the horizon. Do you see the glimmer of the invitation returning? It does not look exactly as it did before. It has been polished by the passage of time and infused with a substance that the younger version of you could not have sustained. You used to chase after the success, the recognition, the open door, breathless and anxious, fearing that if you stopped for a moment, the chance would vanish. But this new iteration of grace does not require you to run until you are empty. It meets you in your stillness. It finds you in the quietude of your renewed mind. Think back to that specific door, the one that slammed so hard it rattled the foundations of your confidence. At the time, you felt rejected by the world, but you were actually being protected by my hand. Had you entered then, you would have been consumed by the very thing you sought. You were like a vessel of clay that had not yet seen the fire. The water of that blessing would have softened you into a shapeless heap. But now, you have been through the kiln of the waiting. You have been tempered by the heat of your own perseverance. The vessel is now glazed and hardened, ready to hold the wine of this better, without leaking a single drop. This return is not a mere repeat of the past. It is a resurrection. And when I resurrect a thing, I do not bring it back to its old state. I bring it back glorified. The project you put down out of exhaustion will now be picked up with an effortless inspiration. The relationship that felt like a broken promise will find its echo in a connection that is rooted in truth rather than desperation. The seat at the table you were denied is being replaced by a table I am preparing specifically for you, where you are not a guest, but the host. Feel the shift in your internal compass. You are no longer navigating by the stars of other people's expectations. You are being guided by the internal light of a peace that surpasses understanding. This is the more I promised. It is the exceedingly abundantly that you once read about but never dared to claim for your own life. You are noticing details now that you were too distracted to see before. The way the light hits the path, the rhythm of your own breath, the subtle whispers of intuition that tell you exactly when to move and when to remain. This is the mastery of the soul. You are no longer a servant to your circumstances. You are a co-creator with the infinite. The lost opportunity has spent its time in the dark soil of the unseen, and it has been transformed into something that can withstand the storms. It has grown branches that will provide shade for others. It has grown fruit that will nourish more than just your own hunger. This is why the wait was long, not because I was withholding, but because I was compounding the interest on your faith. Every day you chose to trust despite the evidence of the no was a day of investment. And now, the dividends are being paid. You will find that you have a stamina you never knew existed. You will find that the voices of doubt that used to roar like lions have been reduced to the chirping of crickets in the distance. They are there, perhaps, but they no longer have the power to stop your stride. You are walking with a regal confidence, not born of ego, but of the realization that you are deeply loved and meticulously guided. The scent of cedar I mentioned, it is the smell of incorruptibility. What I am giving you now cannot be easily taken away. It is not subject to the whims of the market or the opinions of the fickle. It is a sovereign gift, a piece of the kingdom manifest in your daily reality. As you move forward, do not look back at the ruins of the old version with regret. Those ruins were the compost for this garden. Every tear was water. Every heartbreak was a tilling of the soil. You are standing in the bloom now, and the fragrance is more intoxicating because you know the cost of the seed. Reach out your hand. Touch the reality of this new season. It is firm. It is real. It is yours. Notice the texture of your thoughts as you wake each morning. Where there used to be a frantic inventory of what was missing, there is now a slow, steady pulse of gratitude for what is emerging. This is the alchemy of the soul, turning the lead of disappointment into the gold of divine perspective. You are seeing the better, not just in the external doors opening, but in the internal silence that no longer demands an explanation from me. You have moved past the why and into the yes. This yes is a resonance that vibrates in the marrow of your being. It is the sound of a key turning in a lock that has been rusted shut for a decade. Do not be surprised if people from your past return, looking for the version of you that was easily swayed or desperate for approval. They will find a stranger. They will find someone who has been seasoned by the salt of the deep waters. You are no longer seeking to fit into the spaces they carved for you. You are creating new dimensions that they cannot yet perceive. The lost opportunity had to fall away because it was too small for the person you were destined to become. It was a suit of armor that would have constricted your growth. Now, I am clothing you in a mantle of light that expands as you do. This is the beauty of my timing. It is never late, though it often feels delayed to the temporal mind. But you are no longer living solely in the temporal. You are learning to keep time with the eternal. You are dancing to a rhythm that is set by the stars and the seasons of the Spirit. Listen to the wind as it moves through the trees of your life. It is carrying the echoes of the promises I made to you when you were a child, promises you thought you had imagined or outgrown. They were not fantasies. They were blueprints. And now, the construction is reaching its completion. The scaffolding is being taken down, and the world will see the structure that we have built together in the secret place of your endurance. This is not just a recovery of what was lost. It is a coronation. You are being crowned with a beauty that comes from ashes, an oil of joy that replaces mourning, and a garment of praise that dispels the spirit of heaviness. Every step you take from this moment on is a victory lap, not over others, but over the shadows of your own fear. You are standing in the center of a better that is so comprehensive, it heals the memories of the bitter that came before it. This is my gift to you, a return that is so rich, it makes the original loss look like a bargain you were glad to make. The letter you left on the desk years ago, the one that went unanswered, was not ignored by me. I held it in the archives of your destiny. The business that folded was not a tomb, but a womb. The heart that broke in the hallway was being expanded to hold a love that is not a transaction, but a transformation. Take another step. The ground is firm. The light is growing. And the best part is that you are finally ready to see it all. Look at the horizon where the sun is breaking, not with the harsh glare of a noonday heat that once scorched your efforts, but with the amber softness of a dawn that understands its purpose. This light does not just reveal what is there. It illuminates why it had to wait. You remember the frustration of the closed door, the one you pounded on until your spirit felt bruised and small. You felt that the world had moved on without you, leaving you in a stagnant corridor of almost, and not quite. But I was never idle in your waiting. I was adjusting the tilt of the earth so that, when you finally walked through, the shadows would fall behind you, never again to stretch across your path. The opportunity that has returned to you is not a recycled version of the past. It is a refined manifestation of your soul's deepest requirements. You once thought you wanted the applause of the many, but I have brought you the resonance of the meaningful. You once sought a position of power, but I have granted you a position of peace, a peace so profound that it governs the atmosphere of every room you enter. Notice the hands you hold now. They are not the hands that let you go when the storm grew fierce. They are the hands that have been weathered by their own winters and have found their way to yours because they recognize your strength. I have curated your current surroundings with a precision that would baffle your younger self. The very people who once overlooked you are now the ones who will witness the harvest they thought you'd never reap. But you will not feel the sting of vindictive pride, for your heart has been expanded beyond the need for such small compensations. Instead, you will feel a quiet, steady compassion. You will look at them and see the same thirst you once had, and you will offer them a drink from the well I have dug deep within your spirit. This is the better I spoke of, not just better circumstances, but a better capacity to inhabit them. Consider the creative fire that you thought had flickered out during those long nights of doubt. It was not extinguished. It was being banked like coals in a furnace, growing hotter and more concentrated. The work you do now will not be a frantic struggle for relevance. It will be an overflow of your essence. You will find that the words come easier, the ideas are more luminous, and the impact is more enduring because you are no longer trying to prove your existence. You are simply expressing it. The business that folded was merely the shedding of a skin that had become too tight for the creature you were becoming. The new venture, the new path, the new song, it fits you perfectly. It honors your scars and utilizes your wisdom. You are no longer building on sand, but on the bedrock of a character that was forged in the silence of the bitter years. I have gathered the tears you shed over the bitter and used them to water the seeds of this better garden. See how the flowers here don't just bloom, they heal. They possess a fragrance of resilience that can only be cultivated by someone who has known the cold. Do you feel the rhythm of your breath now? It is no longer the shallow panting of someone running away from failure. It is the deep, rhythmic breathing of a sovereign returning to their land. Every delay was a divine detour to keep you from arriving before the feast was ready. Every no was a not this way to ensure you didn't settle for a crumb when I was preparing a banquet. Your life is no longer a series of random collisions with fate. It is a choreographed dance with destiny. And the music is just beginning to swell. You used to fear the silence, thinking it meant I had forgotten you, but now you understand that silence is the canvas upon which I paint the most intricate miracles. Look at the coincidences that are starting to cluster around your days. That phone call from a decade-old contact, the sudden opening in a field you thought was saturated, the unexpected apology from a ghost of your past. These are not accidents. They are the gears of my restoration clicking into place. I am reconciling your history with your hope. I am proving to you that nothing is ever truly lost in my kingdom. It is only transformed. You are standing on the threshold of a season where your joy will be as public as your pain once was. But the beauty is, you won't need the public to validate it. Your validation comes from the quiet whisper in your heart that says, I am exactly where I am supposed to be. This is the coronation of your endurance. This is the fulfillment of the promise I whispered to you when you were at your lowest. I told you I would make all things new, and now, as you look around at this vibrant, living better, you can see that I have kept my word. The colors are more vivid, the air is sweeter, and the ground beneath your feet is holy. Take another step, not with the tentative reach of a beggar, but with the firm stride of an heir. You are not a guest in this blessing. You are the inhabitant for whom it was designed. The better is not just a destination. It is your new nature. It is the way you will see the world from this day forward. You will see opportunities where others see obstacles. You will see beauty where others see debris. Because you have been through the fire and emerged not as ash, but as gold, you have the eyes to see the gold in everything else. Stay in this moment. Let the warmth of this return soak into the marrow of your bones. Let it wash away the last lingering doubts that you were ever abandoned. You were being prepared. You were being polished. You were being positioned. And now the position is yours. The light is not just growing, it has arrived. And it is shining on a landscape that is far more magnificent than the one you lost. Let us walk together through the gallery of your forgotten dreams. Do you see that one in the corner, the one you draped in a black cloth because the sight of it caused too much ache? Pull back the veil. See how it has matured while it sat in the dark. The edges that were once sharp with ego have been softened by grace. The colors that were once garish with the need for attention have deepened into the rich hues of a sunset. It is ready now. You are ready now. We are no longer dealing with the fragile ambitions of a youth who didn't know the cost of the prize. We are dealing with the sturdy resolve of a soul that has paid the price in full and knows the value of every grain of joy. Look at the architecture of this new season. It isn't built of the same temporary materials as your previous successes. It is built with stones of integrity, windows of vision, and a roof of my constant protection. In the old days, you worried about how long the good times would last, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But in this better, the shoes have been removed, for the ground is sacred. There is no other shoe in my restoration. There is only the steady unfolding of more. You are learning that my grace is not a limited resource that runs out if you use too much of it. It is an ocean that expands as you swim further from the shore. Feel the buoyancy of this grace. It carries you over the jagged rocks of your past mistakes. It lifts you above the waves of anxiety that used to pull you under. You are safe here. This return is not a temporary reprieve. It is your new permanent residence. I am setting a table for you in the presence of your memories, and instead of those memories mocking you, they are serving you. They are reminding you of how far you have come. They are the footnotes in the epic story of your resilience. Every time you look back, you will see not a trail of wreckage, but a trail of altars where you met me in the dark. And each of those altars has become a pillar in the house I am building for you now. This is why the better feels so solid. It is anchored in every storm you survived. It is reinforced by every tear you didn't let turn into bitterness. You have a new vocabulary now, a language of yet and however and even so. When the world says it's over, you say, it hasn't even begun. When the enemy of your soul says, you've lost too much time, you say, I am living in a dimension where time is redeemed. You are breathing a different air, a celestial atmosphere that fuels your spirit rather than draining it. Do not rush through this. Savor the texture of this restoration. Notice how the light catches the morning dew on the dreams you thought were dead. They are glistening with a life that is more vibrant than before because they are no longer dependent on your strength alone. They are powered by my breath. You are witnessing the resurrection of your own hope, and it is a sight to behold. You are finally ready to see it all, not through the lens of what you lack, but through the lens of what I provide. And what I provide is always, always more than enough.